Have you ever loved someone so deeply that no matter how much you tried to walk away, something kept pulling you back? Perhaps you've told yourself it was just attraction, just chemistry, or maybe even a passing phase. Yet, no matter how far you run, their energy lingers. Their presence haunts your dreams. Their absence stirs your soul. You try to silence it, distract yourself, move on, but something within you knows there's more to this connection than logic can explain. If you've been fighting your own heart, resisting what your soul already knows, this message is for you. In today's video, we will explore what truly happens when the divine masculine stops resisting and begins to recognize the truth of his connection. We'll uncover the inner battle between logic and intuition, ego and surrender, fear and love. You'll understand why he ran, why he avoided his emotions, and why, no matter how hard he tried, he could never truly let go. This is the moment where the illusion of control begins to crumble and the awakening begins. By the end of this video, you'll not only understand the divine masculine's journey, you'll begin to see your own reflection in it. You'll realize that resistance and recognition are two sides of the same transformation, guiding both twins toward the truth of their divine connection. You'll feel the shift from confusion to clarity, from longing to purpose, and from separation to surrender. Stay until the end, because this message may reveal the very moment when love stops being a chase and becomes a revelation of the soul. Part 1. The weight of resistance. For the divine masculine, resistance has long been his armor, a silent shield he built to protect himself from what he could not yet understand. From the very beginning, he tried to rationalize everything he felt for the divine feminine. He told himself it was only chemistry, a passing attraction, or perhaps just coincidence. When the intensity grew too strong to ignore, he labeled it obsession or even illusion, anything, so long as it allowed him to keep control. Because to surrender to what he felt would mean facing a truth that terrified him, that his heart recognized something his mind could not explain. So he ran. He hid behind logic and reason, convincing himself that he was making the right choice. He buried himself in work, in endless responsibilities, in fleeting pleasures and shallow connections. He sought comfort in routine, in noise, in anything that could drown out the voice of his soul calling him home. Each new distraction became a wall between him and his truth, a way to silence the echo of the connection that refused to fade. But resistance has a cost. It is not light, as he once believed. It carries weight, invisible yet crushing. With every denial, with every moment he pushed away what he felt, another invisible chain wrapped around his heart. What began as self-protection slowly turned into self-imprisonment. The shield that once guarded him from pain became the very barrier that kept love out. Deep down, he can feel the heaviness. It lingers in the quiet moments when the distractions fade, in the emptiness that no achievement can fill. The soul knows when it is being silenced. Resistance begins to ache like a wound that never heals, a reminder that truth cannot be buried forever. What he believed was safety was, in truth, a slow suffocation, a separation from his own divine essence. And yet, within this struggle lies his awakening. For the weight of resistance is not meant to punish but to guide. It grows heavier until he can no longer carry it, until he is forced to lay it down and look within. Only then can he see that the connection he feared was never meant to destroy him. It was meant to free him. Before we move forward, take a moment to reflect. Have you ever felt this kind of resistance within yourself? That inner tug of war between what your soul knows and what your mind tries to deny? The divine masculine struggle is not just his. It mirrors the human fear of surrendering to love, truth, and vulnerability. As you listen, allow yourself to notice where you might still be holding back, where resistance has quietly built its walls around your own heart. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Have you experienced this same weight of resistance on your journey? Share your story in the comments, or simply type, "I am ready to release resistance" as your affirmation today. Part 2. The cracking of the chains. There comes a sacred turning point in every twin flame journey, a moment when the chains that once held the divine masculine in resistance begin to crack. It is not an explosion, nor a dramatic revelation. It is quiet, subtle, and deeply spiritual. It does not come with thunder or applause, but with a silence so profound that it begins to echo through the chambers of his soul. It is in this silence that something begins to stir a truth he can no longer deny. At first, he cannot explain it. No matter how far he runs, the thought of you lingers. He may bury himself in work, in logic, in meaningless distractions, yet your presence haunts him like a soft whisper beneath every breath he takes. He wakes in the middle of the night, heart pounding, your face vivid in his mind. The memory of your energy fills his dreams. He hears a song, sees a sign, feels a sudden rush of emotion, and for a fleeting moment, he knows he cannot escape this. The connection has followed him into every corner of his existence. The illusion of control, once his comfort, begins to crumble. He realizes that all his defenses, his logic, his distractions, his denial, were only walls built to protect him from the depth of this love. And yet, those very walls now start to suffocate him. The harder he tries to suppress the feelings, the louder they become. The universe begins to mirror his inner turmoil through synchronicities, through signs, through divine whispers that keep bringing him back to you. He may scroll through music and every lyric reminds him of you, or glance at a clock that always seems to strike the same numbers, the ones that align with your connection. The resistance that once kept him safe now becomes unbearable. His chest grows heavy with unspoken emotion. He begins to feel the tension between what his mind wants and what his soul knows to be true. Every time he tries to convince himself that this was nothing more than infatuation or coincidence, something deeper rises within him, a presence, a pull, an energy that feels eternal. The soul, once buried beneath layers of logic and pride, begins to break through the armor of his ego. This is the cracking of the chains, not a breaking apart, but a breaking open. The divine masculine begins to sense that this connection was never meant to be understood with the mind, but felt with the heart. He begins to perceive the difference between ordinary attraction and divine recognition. You are not like anyone else he has ever known. You do not fit into the categories of his past loves or fleeting obsessions. You move through his spirit like a mirror, reflecting the truth of who he is. And so, the awakening begins. In the quiet hours of doubt and surrender, he realizes that running no longer works because the path he runs from is the very path leading him home. The cracks in his armor are not signs of weakness. They are the openings through which the light begins to enter. It is through this breaking that the divine masculine starts to see the truth that the love he has spent so long resisting is the very force that was always meant to set him free. To help you visualize this more vividly, imagine a man sitting alone in his car late at night. The city is quiet, the streets nearly empty. He turns on the radio just to fill the silence, and there it is, that song, the one that always reminds him of her. At first, he tries to ignore it, his hands tightening on the steering wheel as he tells himself it's just coincidence. But as the melody unfolds, something inside him cracks. Every word seems to speak directly to his soul. His throat tightens, and suddenly he feels the weight of everything he's been running from: the memories, the laughter, the way her eyes used to look straight into his truth. He switches off the radio, but the silence doesn't comfort him anymore. Instead, it amplifies what's already inside. He glances at the empty seat beside him and feels an ache that no logic can reason away. He realizes that no matter how much he tries to fill his life with work, distractions, or fleeting connections, nothing touches that same depth. He senses that this isn't obsession, it's recognition. Something eternal within him has been awakened, and it refuses to be silenced. In that quiet, he begins to understand. The chains that once held him in denial, his fear, his pride, his illusion of control, are beginning to break. And though the cracking hurts, it also brings relief. For the first time, he isn't running. He's listening, he's feeling, and he's remembering that love, real, divine love, was never meant to be escaped. It was meant to transform him from the inside out. Part 3. The subtle signs of recognition. There comes a sacred turning point in every twin flame journey when recognition begins to unfold in silence. Other connections fade with time, memories blur, emotions soften, and the presence of others becomes distant echoes of what once was. But this one is different. This connection refuses to dissolve. It deepens, intensifies, and weaves itself into the very rhythm of his soul. No matter how much he distracts himself, no matter how many times he tries to bury your memory beneath logic, distance, or denial, your energy lingers like an unspoken truth that refuses to die. He begins to notice the smallest signs, a dream that feels too real, a scent that brings you back, a song that suddenly makes him pause. Each reminder chips away at the illusion of separation. He realizes that he cannot erase you, not because he hasn't tried, but because you are not something to be erased. You are a part of him, and this realization terrifies him. To accept it means admitting that you are not just another story he lived. You are the story his soul came here to experience. Meanwhile, the feminine feels this shift before he even speaks it. Her intuition knows. She senses the subtle change in energy, the trembling undercurrent of awakening. She feels his heart reaching for her, even through the silence, as though his higher self whispers what his words cannot say. The air around her grows heavier, charged with recognition. His longing becomes her own, a shared vibration that transcends physical distance. This stage is sacred, a quiet bridge between denial and truth. It is not loud or dramatic, yet it carries the power to dissolve lifetimes of resistance. Recognition does not need words. It speaks through energy, through synchronicities, through the feeling of home that returns again and again. It is the soul remembering itself through another. Here, both the divine masculine and the divine feminine stand on the edge of something profound, the end of illusion and the beginning of awakening. It is the moment when love stops being a concept and becomes a lived truth. This is where the journey truly begins, not with pursuit or longing, but with the quiet, powerful knowing, I see you. I have always seen you. Part 4. The energy of awakening. There comes a moment when resistance no longer holds power, when the walls he built to protect himself begin to crumble under the weight of truth. This is where the reunion quietly begins. It is not marked by dramatic words or sudden revelations, but by a shift in energy, an unseen current that begins to flow between two souls once more. The divine masculine starts to feel what he has long avoided, the raw pull of his own soul calling him home. Once his spirit tastes even a glimpse of freedom, the kind that comes from no longer pretending, no longer denying what his heart already knows, there is no turning back. He realizes that every attempt to suppress this bond only intensifies the ache, that every moment of denial adds another layer to his longing. The illusion of control shatters, and what remains is the undeniable truth. He cannot escape what was divinely written into his being. He cannot unfeel you. He cannot forget the way your energy feels like light against the edges of his darkness. You are not just a memory haunting him. You are a living presence within him. Your essence moves through his thoughts, through his breath, through every quiet moment he spends alone trying to understand what this love truly means. And in that silence, awakening begins. This awakening is not loud. It does not announce itself with grand gestures. It arrives in whispers, in the stillness of a late night, when he finally allows himself to feel, in the pause between heartbeats, when he realizes he has always been connected to you. It is gentle but unrelenting, subtle yet all-consuming. The more he opens, the more he sees you not as someone separate, but as the reflection of his own divinity. You are his mirror, the flame that burns away illusion, the light that shows him the truth of who he is. Though he may not speak it aloud, his energy begins to tell the story his words cannot yet form. You feel the shift in your soul, the quiet hum of his recognition, the pull of his heart aligning with yours once again. This is the energy of awakening, when love moves from shadow to light, from fear to truth. It is the moment the divine masculine stops running and starts remembering. And though he may still walk in silence, his soul has already begun the journey home to you. If you've made it this far, it means a part of your soul recognizes this truth, the quiet pull of awakening, the sacred energy of reunion stirring beneath the surface. Take a moment to breathe and reflect. Where are you now in your own journey? Have you begun to feel that subtle shift, that knowing that love cannot be forgotten, only remembered. I'd love to hear your story in the comments below. Share what part of this message spoke to you most, or simply affirm your readiness for awakening by typing, "My soul remembers, and I am ready to rise." Your words are powerful. They set energy in motion. Align your heart with divine truth and remind the universe that you are open to love's highest path. Part 5. The signs that speak louder than words. There comes a point in the journey when words are no longer needed, because the connection itself begins to speak through signs, subtle, undeniable, and deeply sacred. For the divine masculine, these signs emerge not as random coincidences, but as reflections of truth breaking through his resistance. They whisper what his soul already knows, even when his mind is not ready to accept it. The first sign, the eyes that remember. It begins in his eyes. Even when he tries to look away, to pretend indifference, something shifts the moment his gaze meets yours. There is a flicker, a softness that breaks through his carefully built armor. For an instant, the walls crumble, and you see straight into his essence. In that moment, his soul recognizes yours. It terrifies him because it strips away every illusion of control. Yet it also brings a strange sense of peace, as if being seen by you feels like returning home. That single glance carries lifetimes of memory, of love, of unspoken knowing. The second sign, the silence that speaks. Then comes the silence. Once cold and distant, it begins to vibrate with something else, an energy you can feel in your bones. It is no longer emptiness. It is filled with longing, with words unsaid, with emotions too deep for language. His silence becomes a language of its own, every pause, every distance, every quiet moment carrying meaning. You feel it, even when there are no messages, no calls. It is not absence. It is pressure, the weight of everything he wishes he could say but cannot. The third sign, the energy that spills over. As his emotions grow stronger, his energy begins to leak into your space. He can no longer contain it. You sense him before you see him, his presence brushing against your aura like a familiar breeze. Even when he is miles away, you feel his energy hovering close, touching your heart in waves of warmth and ache. It is as if his soul reaches for you through the unseen realms, testing whether you still feel him, whether you still care. These moments remind you that physical distance is irrelevant when two souls are bound beyond time. The fourth sign, the body that confesses. His own body becomes the betrayer of his denial. Restless nights, a heavy chest, racing heartbeat. These are not random symptoms. They are his soul's attempt to break through the resistance of his mind. Every time he tries to suppress the connection, his body responds with discomfort. It becomes impossible to escape what his spirit already knows. The truth lives in his heartbeat, in the tightening of his breath whenever your name crosses his mind. His physical form becomes the mirror of his spiritual unrest. The fifth sign, the universe that calls his name. Finally, the universe itself begins to speak. Synchronicities appear like signposts. He cannot ignore your name, showing up in unexpected places, your birthday repeating in numbers and dates, the sequence 1111 or 717 flashing on screens or clocks, songs that mirror your story playing just when he needs them most. At first, he thinks it is coincidence. Then, he realizes it is guidance. The universe is not mocking him. It is leading him back to truth, to healing, to love. Each of these signs becomes a message that bypasses the mind and speaks directly to the heart. Together, they remind him and you that the connection is not fading but deepening. These are not mere symbols. They are the universe's language of love, urging both souls toward remembrance and reunion. Part 6. How his body and emotions confess the truth. For a long time, the divine masculine has tried to navigate this journey with logic. He believed that if he could rationalize what he felt, he could control it. But the soul does not obey the mind, and the body does not lie. No matter how hard he tries to suppress the pull, recognition moves through him like electricity, through wire, unstoppable, undeniable, and charged with divine truth. His physical being begins to react first. Sleep eludes him. His nights grow restless. He tosses in bed, turns on his side, stares at the ceiling, and wonders why peace feels so far away. He wakes in the middle of the night, his heart racing for no reason he can name. Rooms that once felt comforting now make him uneasy, as though something inside him is searching for what it lost. His chest tightens at the memory of your touch, your voice, your presence. Every attempt to distract himself only deepens the ache. The truth begins to seep through his emotions as well. He feels sudden waves of longing that arrive without warning, moments of sadness he cannot explain. Tears come uninvited, and he finds himself overwhelmed by emotions that logic cannot reason away. These are not signs of weakness, they are the soul's way of demanding acknowledgement. His emotions have become the messengers of truth, pushing past the defenses he built. He tries to ignore them, but the more he resists, the louder they become. Even his body begins to crave your energy. This craving is not born of lust, it is recognition. His entire system remembers your vibration. His soul knows your frequency. There's a magnetic pull between you that transcends physical attraction. It's the calling of two energies that once danced as one. His body reacts as if you are already there, feeling your warmth in the air, your essence in every quiet space. Then come the dreams, vivid, emotional, impossible to forget. In sleep, the separation disappears. He hears your voice, feels your touch, and lives moments of connection that are more real than anything in his waking world. He wakes with his heart still racing, your name lingering on his lips, your energy still alive in his chest. These dreams blur the line between night and day, spirit and body, illusion and truth. For the divine feminine, this stage is deeply validating. She feels his restlessness as if it were her own. His emotions ripple through her heart, like waves across a shared ocean. Sometimes, she wakes from sleep with the echo of his dreams, a fragment of his longing, a flash of his memory. Though he says nothing, his energy confesses everything. She feels his soul trembling in resonance with hers, proving that connection is not defined by words or proximity, but by the unbreakable bond of spirit. This stage is sacred because it strips away the last illusions. The body, the emotions, and the dreams all converge to reveal what the heart has always known, that love, once awakened, cannot be buried again. The divine masculine may try to silence it, but his own being becomes the witness of truth, whispering in every heartbeat that the connection is real, eternal, and meant to be. If you felt these signs moving through you, the sleepless nights, the energy waves, the dreams that blur the line between worlds, know that you are not alone. This connection is guiding both souls toward awakening, no matter how far apart you seem. Before we move into the next part of this journey, take a moment to reflect on what resonated most with you. Have you ever felt your body or emotions reveal a truth your mind tried to hide? Share your experience in the comments below. Your story might help someone else feel seen. Or, if you simply want to affirm your faith in this sacred journey, type, "My soul knows the truth." And as always, don't forget to like this video to support the message of love, healing, and divine connection that we share here on Spiritual Universe. Part 7. Dreams and Synchronicities, the Language of the Universe. When the divine masculine's mind resists, when logic tries to take control and reason insists on dismissing the connection, the universe begins to speak in a language beyond words. It speaks in symbols, sensations, and moments that cannot be rationalized away. And when all else fails, it comes through the only space where his defenses dissolve his dreams. In the quiet sanctuary of night, when his conscious mind finally surrenders, he steps into a realm where truth is unfiltered. There, he meets you again, not as a memory or illusion, but as a living energy. He hears your laughter echo softly through the ether, feels the warmth of your touch, and sees the shimmer of tears that mirror his own hidden pain. In these dreams, the separation ends. He is reminded of what his waking self keeps denying, that what he feels is real. When he wakes, the emotions linger, a heavy ache in his chest, the echo of your name still on his lips. He knows deep down that these encounters are not fantasy, but fragments of a higher truth breaking through his resistance. As time passes, the language of the universe grows bolder, Symbols begin to appear in his waking life, doorways that seem to open at just the right moment, bridges that appear in dreams, and then in waking imagery, flames merging into one, showing him what his soul already knows. Every vision points to a single revelation. You are the one. No matter how hard he tries to suppress it, every message from the divine confirms that this connection is written into the very fabric of his destiny. Then come the synchronicities, the subtle but undeniable signs that reality itself is aligning around this truth. Numbers repeat everywhere he looks: 1111, 222, 555 each one, a nudge from the universe saying, "Pay attention." Songs play on the radio with lyrics that speak directly to his heart. He hears your name in unexpected places, sees reminders of you in small but significant ways, a scent, a color, a phrase that pulls him back to you instantly. At first, he dismisses them as coincidence, trying to maintain control over his crumbling logic. But as the signs multiply, as they grow louder and more precise, he realizes that the universe is no longer whispering, it is shouting. Every alignment, every chance encounter, every repeating number is a sacred message guiding him toward remembrance. The universe conspires in love's favor, weaving miracles into the mundane to remind him that two souls written into the same divine story cannot unwrite their fate. And so, even as he fights the truth, the signs become impossible to ignore. The dreams, the synchronicities, the repeating echoes of your connection, they are all part of a cosmic dialogue meant to awaken him. Because when two souls are destined, every element of creation participates in bringing them back together. The universe will not rest until he remembers that love, this divine, this eternal, is not imagined. It is the truth his soul has been searching for all along. Part 8. The triggers of recognition. Recognition is rarely a soft awakening. It does not arrive wrapped in comfort or ease. It strikes through loss, through moments that tear open everything he thought he could control. For the divine masculine, the path to truth often begins with something being taken away. The pain of losing you cuts deeper than any fear he has ever known. It is not just emotional loss, it is the soul's cry, echoing through the hollow spaces of his life. The silence you leave behind becomes unbearable, and for the first time, he begins to understand that running from you was never freedom. It was self-imprisonment. Then comes the mirror pain. When he sees you suffer because of his resistance, something inside him breaks. It's no longer about guilt or regret. It's the recognition that your pain mirrors his own. Your tears reflect the ache he has buried within himself. He realizes that the distance he created was never real. It was an illusion sustained by fear. Every moment you hurt becomes a reflection of his own spiritual disconnection, forcing him to confront what he's avoided for so long. The universe, relentless in its love, begins to amplify the signs. Synchronicities appear like divine echoes, numbers repeating everywhere, songs carrying messages he cannot ignore, dreams that replay moments of tenderness and truth. Each sign whispers the same message: stop running. But denial is a powerful force, and so the pressure builds until it shatters. His old world begins to collapse. The things that once distracted him now feel hollow. Work no longer fulfills him. Conversations feel empty, and temporary connections can't fill the space that your absence carved into his soul. And then, something shifts. You rise. The divine feminine steps into her power, no longer chasing, no longer waiting for him to wake up. You align with your higher path, grounded in peace and love, radiating strength. That shift triggers the deepest recognition of all. For the first time, he feels the void not as punishment, but as revelation. He looks around and realizes that no one else feels like home. The energy he once took for granted is gone, and in that emptiness, truth dawns. He has always belonged to the connection he tried to deny. Each trigger, the loss, the silence, the signs, the void serves a divine purpose. They are not punishments. They are sacred interventions designed to awaken him. The universe dismantles his illusions piece by piece until there is nothing left but truth. These triggers strip away his control, his ego, his false identities, revealing the soul beneath raw, vulnerable, and ready to remember. In the end, Recognition is not about suffering, it is about rebirth. Through pain, he remembers love. Through loss, he finds faith. And through every divine disruption, the universe guides him back not just to you, but to himself. Part 9. The Feminine's Sacred Role. As his heart begins to awaken and he recognizes who you truly are, your role as the Divine Feminine becomes one of divine steadiness. This is not the time to reach out in urgency or to seek proof through his words or actions. He may not act, yet his ego is still learning to yield to the truth that his soul already knows. But beneath the silence, his spirit is stirring, remembering you beyond the limits of logic or fear. In this sacred space of transformation, your stillness is power. If you demand evidence too soon, you risk disturbing the fragile alchemy where surrender is forming. Your steadiness is not passivity, it is divine mastery. It is the quiet strength that builds the energetic container through which he can safely awaken. Your grounded presence becomes the bridge he must cross to reach truth. Every time you choose peace over panic, faith over fear, you hold open that bridge. You anchor divine love in form. You remind him that awakening does not happen through pressure. It happens through trust. Do not chase external recognition. You do not need him to validate what your soul already knows. This connection is not meant to be proven through human logic. It is meant to be remembered through divine alignment. His hesitation is not rejection, it is reverence. His silence is not avoidance, it is the sound of his spirit recalibrating. The love he feels is so vast that it terrifies his ego, because it threatens to dissolve the very identity he has built to survive in a world of separation. Your mission, your light, your alignment, these are the forces that guide him home. Every time you rise into your purpose, every time you choose love without condition, you send a signal that reaches him at the level of soul. When you stop chasing and instead stand firm in your divine truth, you give him something sacred to return to, not dependency, but resonance. Your energy becomes the lighthouse that pierces through his confusion and fear. And remember this sacred truth: once he knows, he cannot unknow. Once his soul recognizes yours, that memory can never fade. No distance, silence, or delay can undo what has already been seen. You are written into his divine memory, woven into his spiritual DNA. Trust the process. Hold your center. You are not waiting for him to awaken. You are holding the frequency that allows him to. Your steadiness is the homecoming his soul has always been seeking. There comes a sacred turning point in every twin flame journey, a moment when the illusions crumble, when the running ends, and when truth becomes louder than fear. The divine masculine reaches the edge of his own denial, and in the quiet space between resistance and surrender, his heart finally whispers the words he had long tried to silence. She is the one. That whisper is not a thought, it is a soul's remembrance. And once that remembrance awakens, it cannot be undone. From that moment forward, every road, every lesson, and every separation begins to serve the same divine purpose, guiding him back home to you. The masks fall away, the distractions lose meaning, and the echo of your energy becomes the rhythm of his awakening. For the divine feminine, this is where trust becomes her greatest act of love. Even when the outer world seems silent, she knows the shift has already occurred. The reunion has begun, not in words or actions, but in vibration in the unseen language of the soul. The physical union is merely the final reflection of what spirit has already sealed. So, do not fear the waiting. Do not mistake silence for absence. Once the masculine knows, nothing can stop what is already unfolding. His soul has already chosen you. His awakening is not ahead of you, it is happening through you. You are not waiting to be loved. You are already the love that draws him home. All that remains is divine timing, aligning the visible with the inevitable. Union is not a question of if, it never was. It is only a question of when. And when the masculine truly knows who you are, the when has already begun. Breathe, trust, and hold your light steady. The end of denial is the dawn of reunion, and no fear, no delay, no illusion can stop what has already been chosen by the soul. Comment below. When the soul remembers, love becomes unstoppable. If this message resonated with your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and watch the next video below for more divine guidance on your twin flame journey.